Welcome back. Today's video we will be moving to the next phase of a penetration test, which is finding and discovering their vulnerabilities. So basically in this video guys, we're going to be talking about a couple of tools used in the penetration testing arena to find vulnerabilities. So my first tool is Nessus, but it is starting, and we have Nmap script engine, and we have Metasploit. And of course, we have other tools we're going to be talking about in this video. So basically, while Nessus is starting, I'm going to launch a new terminal. I'm going to make sure that Metasploit is running. All right. So as you know, guys, Nmap scripting engine, it's another tool to provide vulnerability scanning. Just as Metasploit evolved from an exploitation framework into a fully scalable or fully fledged penetration testing suite with hundreds of modules. So basically, Nmap has scripts that are meant to find vulnerabilities. So how can we find these scripts? We can go to user, share, and then Nmap scripts. So these are all of the scripts that can be used to supplement your Nmap scanning. One objective is to find vulnerabilities. So basically, let's see now how we can use this scripting engine. So to get more info about the scripting engine, we type Nmap script help default. All right. So as you can see here, we see the scripts and their let's say description, right? So one of them is this one, for example, XML RPC methods, categories, default, save discovery, and this is the script or the description of it. Now let's clear, and let's see here the IP address of my. I know I can see it from Kali Linux, but I would like to see it from here. Okay, it's 34. So here to scan using the script engine with the default option, we can type nmap and the IP address. So when we use the SC flag, we tell Nmap to run a script scan in addition to port scanning. So in this option, guys, when you type this, it will run all the scripts against the target, which is very noisy scan. Now, I spoke before about the difference between using manual and automatic penetration vulnerability scanning. So originally, vulnerability scanning tools are found to make your penetration testing easier. So if you are in a short time range to perform your penetration test, especially if you are practicing or doing one of the OSCP exams or doing one pen test for your client and you don't have much time, so tools are a very great choice to start with. If you have larger time window and you have like 3 days, 4 days, then I think manual testing would make more sense from my perspective. All right, so while it is running, let's check our Nessus, and it's still running and preparing. Now, I know this is might take some time, but I would like you to see the results. So, okay. So according to the results, let's see what we have. So we have an output of open port services, and let's see if we can find if there's anything about vulnerabilities. Okay. So host script results. So here we can see the result of the script engine scanning. So as you can see here, we have SMB security mode. We have account use guest and authentication level user. And we have much information about the SMB on this machine, but there is nothing else, only SMB OS discovered. And here we can find some detailed information about every service running on the ports. For example, here we have the version of the web server running on port 8180, and if we go up, we have much detailed information about MySQL. Now, all of these detailed information, guys, are supplemented and enhanced with the scripting engine. All right. So now let's say we want to run specific scripts on this host. All right. So basically, from our basic use of Nmap, we know that the Linux target here is Metasploitable, right? So there is a bunch of vulnerabilities in this box. We know that beforehand. So one thing to do, guys, is how can we see if there are file shares on the box? So basically here, if we can run nmap, let's say we are interested in finding the NFS file shares, or in this case, it's Linux box. Let's say it's SMB. So in this case, I'm gonna run All right, so here, as you can see, we got description about this module, and it's saying discovery safe. But if you go up, just a second. Okay. Okay, let's scan again. And this time, we're going to replace help with the name of the script. In this case, it will be NFS ls, and the IP address is 192.168.94. So I'm supposed to get the shares, if there are any, on the box. But it seems that there aren't any shares on the box. So basically, I can do that. Let's go back, and from the output, as you can see, we have the list of the services. So if you are interested in finding more detailed info about specific service with Nmap scanning using the scripting engine, what we can do here, we can type ls la and grep. Let's see if we take NFS, what are the scripts available for this? Oh, I moved out of the directory. Okay. So we have NFS show mounts stats ls. All right. So let's go back and use show mount. Okay, so there is nothing. There are no remote shares on this box, apparently. But I'm not convinced. So maybe we see ls rep. Let's check out NetBIOS. Broadcast NetBIOS master browser. Let's check RPC bind. Okay. All right. So let's see now if we have scripts to find vulnerabilities for SSH. So we put this. What are the available scripts in Nmap? As you can see, we have many of them. Let's try to use, let's get information about this script. So Nmap help. So what we got here? Let's go up. Let it go down. So we got an error here. Okay. Let's see. No, I don't think so. SSH2 Imium A L go. Reports the number of algorithms for encryption that the target SSH2 server offers. I don't think we're interested in this, right? So let's grep again. So we have authentication methods, brutes. So let's get more info about this brutes thing. SH brute performs brute force password guessing against the SSH server. Well, I'm not interested in that. Run. Let's see what run. Runs remote command on SSH server and returns command output. Okay, let's see this. So we put nmap script equal SSH run and target. So it's saying fail to specify credentials and command to run. So basically, in order to run this script, I have to specify the credentials, right? Now let's see for HTTP. Oh my God, we have too much. But in general, that's how, guys, you specify a certain script from Nmap to run against your target. But in general, if you are comfortable with your scan, you just can go back to the previous option, which is running all the scripts by default. The option was, let's go back. Okay, so this one runs all the Nmap scripts against the target. And if you are about to find something, you're going to find it in this scan, but this is a very noisy scan. All right. Okay, let's check now. I don't know why Nessus is not running in my case. But we have to wait. Okay, let's go back to the Nmap scanning and scan like this. Let's take a more detailed look about the Nmap scan that we run with the scripting engine enabled. And let's examine the results and see what we actually can find and what are the vulnerabilities that we can conclude. All right, so let's go up now. So first we have FTP anonymous login. All right. Then we have SSH, OpenSSH 4.7, Telnet, SMTP, SMTP.com, that's what for local admin, local domain. Okay. You go down. So the Apache server 228, MySQL info, capabilities, handshake, PostgreSQL, BNC, access denied, IRC server. Too much details to handle. Typically, in a regular scan, if you get this output when you run scripting engine, I mean, you know damn sure that the target is vulnerable. I mean, look, we have too many banner grabs. As you can see, too many banners, which is not secure at all. So from this scan, we conclude that it's the whole machine is vulnerable. We know that beforehand, but from the scan output, as you can see, we have too much details exposed. All right, so basically, as you can see, scripting engine, very useful for running and gaining insights on the targets. But as I told you guys, noise scan, I prefer to selectively have specific scripts running on the target. So if I'm interested in finding more details about the banners, and if there are some unsecure methods, insecure methods used in the on the server, I'm interested in doing and finding the specific script for that and run it against the target. Okay, what about this? Still running. I'm not sure if this is the right thing to do, but I think it's a problem with Firefox. Let me close it again. Okay, now another method to find vulnerabilities, guys, is to use Metasploit scanner module. So it's also Metasploit scanner module is considered a vulnerability scanning tool. Firefox is the services and the open source. All right. So now we spoke in a video that we can run Nmap with Metasploit. So instead of running Nmap on its own and giving that we will not use Nmap scripting engine to find vulnerabilities, we can directly use Nmap with Metasploit. So what we can do here, we specify db, Nmap, and the targets. And after that, we are interested in finding the ports, it represents everything, right? So we put aggressive mode. But aggressive mode is a very noisy scan, and I'm using this because I'm operating on a vulnerable box, all right? So let's see the coalition Metasploit Nmap on finding vulnerabilities. And in the meanwhile, let's run Nessus because we're gonna use it. Okay, so what we got here? Okay, a list of the open ports, the services running on these ports. Okay. All right. Now, from the scan results, I can see many services running. And now we can start using Metasploit to find the vulnerabilities. So for example, the first step to use, guys, how to determine which module, which payload, which of which, you know. So in my case, I first determine the service I'm interested in finding the vulnerability. So for example, let's say FTP, right? So we go down, we type search, right? Type. So I'm interested in scanning and name FTP. So I get a list of all of the scanning modules for FTP. Let's see here what we got. Authentication scanner, version scanner. We got many stuff actually. Simple FTP fuzzer, client fuzzer, FTP, anonymous FTP access detection. Let's use that. Go down, use. See if we got anonymous login, if it is allowed or not. So show options, set our hosts, and run. So from the results, as you can see, the anonymous login is allowed, right? So we can go ahead and log in with FTP anonymously. But I know you're going to tell me I found that from the Nmap scanning, right? Exactly. But sometimes you can only run specific Nmap commands. Like for example, you cannot run this noisy scan that would get you so much details about the target. Sometimes you need to run only port scanning with Nmap. So how can you go about finding if the FTP service is having anonymous login allowed or not, right? You can use Metasploit for this. So that's for FTP. Let's see what we can get for SSH. So we go down and we type search, type auxiliary name SSH. So we get here version scanner, public key login scanner, login check scanner, username enumeration, version corruption, version fuzzer. Let's see this version corruption. Info. So it's saying here, this module sends a series of SSH requests with a corrupted version string. Okay, set our hosts, run. So it is version corrupting right now. Actually, I have no idea what's the output's going to be. I haven't tried this before. Auxiliary module execution completed. So what's our results? I have no idea. But here, according to the result, guys, I can see something. Let's go down, down. You see the byte size, as you can see, falls in a limited range from 200 till 23. So I don't think the scanner has given us something meaningful about this. So let's go up. Go up. Okay. SSH public key login scanner. If we can log in with the public key, let's find if this is enabled. Info. This module will test SSH logins on a range of machines using defined private key file. So into private key file. I report successful logins. And we need also, guys, key path. We need a key file for this. So for SSH, this is a version scanner, finds you the version. And this is very useful, as I told you guys, if you are in a situation where you cannot run Nmap, a noisy Nmap scan or lousy Nmap scan, right? So you use the scanner of Metasploit. So we use the scanner here of Metasploit to find the version of the SSH server, right? Show options, set our hosts. Run. So we get a full dump of the current version of the SSH server. And as you can see, they are using SSH 2.0 and SSH 4.7 P1. So now you can go ahead and new file, search, exploit. Let's type OpenSSH. So the version is 4.7 P1. Let's go down. Duplicated block remote denial of service. So I think we can execute that, command execution, and also user enumeration. So we have a bunch of exploits to try, but we're not going to try that because we are not in an I'm not going to explain how to exploit, right? This is in this video I'm explaining how to find vulnerabilities. Okay, let's go back to Metasploit and let's go up to the Nmap scanning results, and we have also telnet. Okay, let's see what we have. Let's see what Metasploit has for us. Search, type, and name telnet. So what do we got here? Telnet login check scanner. Let's see if we can log in with telnet on this machine. Use show options, set our hosts, so what do we need else? Our host is required. User file is not required. Thanks to my Lord. Okay, run. Invalid grid details cannot be blank. Grid details cannot be blank. So do we set something? What do you think? User pass file. Pass file. We need the password file. User pass file. File containing user and passwords. File containing user names. Okay, let's do that. Let's go to desktop. And here we create nano usernames, root, admin, MSF, admin. And we create a password file. MSF admin, admin, root. Simple stuff. Okay. Now, here we set user file equal to not to make mistakes with the directory path. No, man, come on. What did you? I'm gonna paste this. Okay, username, password file. Run. Let's see if login is enabled on Telnet. So it's doing kind of brute force, right? But from the attempts, I can say that Telnet login is enabled on the server. So we might, we got one successful. Login MSF admin, and one command shell opened. So sessions. So as you can see, we got one command shell on this machine, only by running auxiliary scanning. But this is rare to happen in real world scenarios, guys, unless the target is kind of, you know the word. Okay. So now after that, after what we have done right so far, guys, you know how to use Nmap scripting engine to find detailed information about the target. And if you are not allowed to run Nmap scripting engine and you're only allowed to run Nmap scanning, port scanning, and then you are interested in enumerating more about the current vulnerabilities of the target, you use the auxiliary scanning module of Metasploit to find more details about every service, the version, and then find your way to the exploits. Okay. Now, one thing to mention, guys, is if you want to find specific exploit about a target using Metasploit, just put search, type exploit, and put the name. Let's say FTP. So we get a list of all FTP exploits to try against our target. But since in this video we are only interested in finding and scanning for vulnerabilities, not for exploits, right? So we are interested to find what are the current loopholes and the weaknesses on the target. FTP anonymous login is allowed. SSH server allows specific stuff. We can log in with telnets. All of this kind of stuff, the version scanning, all of these are under the frame of vulnerability scanning. So we can use the auxiliary module in Metasploit and bind that with the current service we are interested in, and we can find the vulnerabilities of this. Now let's go to our browser and see if Nisys has started. Okay, it is completing. Good. Now, let's close Nmap scanning. We are done with Nmap scanning and Metasploit scanning. Okay, now let's go to the web page. Okay, so I have now the web page of Metasploitable, right? Now let's see if we can find another way to scan for vulnerabilities. So as you know, with Metasploit, we can also scan for HTTP vulnerabilities, HTTP protocol vulnerabilities, or the web server vulnerabilities. But right now, we can also use another tool for this, which is Nikto. And we specify the host, which is 192.168. And this way, we scan for the web server vulnerabilities with Nikto, guys. Of course, don't take the tool literally, guys. You can use Metasploit as well. Just type auxiliary, and the name is Apache, and you will see a list of scanning modules from which you can use to scan for vulnerabilities. So here you can see we have one. Directory indexing is found. PHP is installed, and a test script which runs PHP info was found, which means we can find the PHP version of this app. Okay, here's a preliminary scan about the target. So if we type PHP info, that is great. So from here you get the PHP info, guys, and you go to search exploit. So it's PHP 5, and it is well known that PHP 5 has many vulnerabilities. So basically, your next step to find exploits is to use Metasploit or to use search exploit if you want to do that manually. What else? What else? What else? All right. Now let's go back to our Nmap scan. And let's run Nmap in non-noisy mode. So I'm going to use stealth mode. I'm going to run only port scanning. Or, okay, let's type this, target. God. Okay, so now assume that you find some strange port, right? Like for me, the strange port here is this one, 8180, right? Or this one. So how can you know that there are vulnerabilities on the service running this port? So one way to do that, guys, is to use netcut. So let's connect to this service, try to grab a banner and see what we get. And we specify the port, which is 8180. Nothing. Okay. Let's change that to 8009. Okay, let's use telnet then. The port is 8180. Okay. So let's see, let's suppose that it is HTTP something, HTTP or some Apache stuff. Let's try to simulate a request. Some PHP. PHP connection closed by foreign hosts. Okay, let me go back then to netcut and get PHP info. PHP. No. I made a typo here. PHP info. And then we specify HTTP. Wonderful. Close on its own. So we need to try back again. So let's see if we get a response from this. If we don't get a response, it means there is nothing on this, but I am not sure this is correct. Let's try to simulate that here. So it's Apache Tomcat. But if I use netcat, I don't get a response. Okay, get. Ah, still nothing. No idea why. Okay, let's go back to Nmap. So we have here SMTP. So how can we find if there is nothing on here? There is something on here, sorry. So let's use netcat again. And port is 25. So here we get a response that there's email server on here. So how can we interact with that? We can use multiple commands to interact with SMTP servers, and there are so much documentation on the internet on how to use, how to interact with SMTP server in the command line. So one of the commands are verify. Let's see if there are some if the username is existed or not. MSF admin. So MSF admin exists, I think. Let's verify something else. So Mu'tasim doesn't exist, but MSF admin exists. Okay. Now it's time to head to Nessus, but it's still preparing plugins. And I'm sorry to tell you guys, if it is going to continue like this, I'm going to have to close the session now. We may use this in a separate video, but for this video, it's taking so long to open, and I'm not going to waste your time. Okay, so for now, we used Nmap scripting engine, and we use Metasploit, Nikto to find vulnerabilities. I know there are many tools to find vulnerabilities, and of course, the automated tools like the ones we use today, they have use cases all the time. But manual testing, we're going to talk about manual testing if we will dig down in that in the future. All right then. Thank you so much.